Good morning. We're learning the Alter Rebbe Maimer Parshas Naso from Likuti Torah. But it's called the Chassidish Parsha. Oh, we're holding in Parshas Naso. As Yisrael is Ba'aloischa, we have Parshas Naso. Naso Es Rosh b'nei Gershon v'Gomer. That's the beginning, the opening of the Parsha. Daber Hashem Moshe Lemor, Naso Es Rosh b'nei Gershon, Gam Heim Leveis Avosim Shvichois. The first question the Alter Rebbe comes up with is Yishlovin Lama Nema b'nei Gershon, Gam Heim. What does it mean, Gam Heim? They also need to be counted. Why shouldn't they be counted? If Hashem said to count every single Jew, and now we're holding and counting in Parshas Bamidbar, we just finished counting the Kehosi and Gershon. What does it mean, Gam Heim? There also. So maybe they're trying to imply that the main counting is like the end of last week Parsha is for the Kehosim. Kehosim is the main counting, and it comes to Gershon, Gam Hein should be counted. So they're secondary to Bnei Kehos. That's what it's implying. Gam Asher Kosu v'nei Gershon dav kal pi'arenu v'onu tia kol avedas b'nei Gershuni. Said about Bnei Gershon that even their job has to be overseen, being supervised by Aaron. This was not said about Bnei Kosu, which is also Levim. Comes to Gershon, it has to be supervised. Everything has to be done by the instructions of Aaron. So, in order to understand this question, we have to go into a journey to understand the whole concept of Mishkan and to understand why we had to travel in the desert for 40 years. Venesi Osam Bamidbo. Okay? So we need to understand the concept of the Mishkan and the traveling in the desert. For what? In order to understand what is the Inyan of Gershon, what is Kehas, and what is Merori, obviously in the spiritual service. Because the physical service we know. This one carried the Oren, this one carried the beams, this one carried the curtains. We know what they did. But spiritually, we need to understand Avodah Ruchnis, because every person has a different type of Avodah Ruchnis, of spiritual service. When it comes to Bnei Kehos, Bnei Gershon, they also have Avodah Ruchnis, and they're the leaders, they're the ones. So we have to find out what was the main Avodah Ruchnis. You with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. The purpose of the traveling in the Midbar with the Mishkan, schlepping the Mishkan wherever they're going. And its utensils. What was the purpose? Here he answers it. Was to subdue the power of the Chitzonim, that they shouldn't get any nurturing. The root of the nurturing of the Chitzonim is in the Midbar, specifically in the desert. Okay, so here's the answer. You ask, why did they travel in the desert for so long? It says because their job was to, and why did they schlep the Mishkan with them? Because they subdued the Chitzonim. The other side, the Sitra Acha, was subdued, because it kills their nurturing. They're not getting their main nurturing is in the desert. We have to see soon what the desert means. But since we traveled in the midbar, it killed them. It took away it subdued their power. You know how many travelings we did in the midbar?
I forgot this.
42. 42 encampments. But that, you know what it means? It means that you stop, you assemble everything,
right?
And then sometimes Hashem said to Venice, how did they know if to stay or go? The clouds would start going.
Right.
Sometimes they stayed in one place for 14 years. Sometimes they stayed in one place for one day.
Right.
But that also connects with what we just said. To destroy the Chitzonim, only Hashem knows what each place had a different power. So some places we need to stay there for longer to subdue them. They were stronger. And some places we need to be less. ולא כן במדבר אין שום גידול צמח ודשא כלל, אלא שימומן בלבד. The desert, there is no growth of vegetation. Tzemach is vegetation. There's nothing tzemach, nothing is growing. There's no grass in the midbar. So what is there? Desolation. Shimomin is desolation. That's it. Shimomin bilvat. Ki hashpoa misitul kedusha. Flow, growth, vegetation is from the place of kedusha, from sitra de kedusha, from the side of holiness. V'atom mechayis kulom, atom, you give life to all. That's coming from the side of kedusha. K'tiv tzadik havaye. What is tzadik havaye? Pirush shu mashpia u'bal tzedakah. It's giving. It's a giver. V'chen b'chol sitra de kedusha sh'b'chen. So every time you find giving, usually connected to the side of kedusha. Atom mechayis kulom, tzadik havaye, ashpo, tzedakah. You notice, there's a diuk over here. It says, atom chayus kulam, meaning the chayus to all, the giving, the flow, is coming from atom, from Hashem's essence. Doesn't it say a name? Havayim chayus kulam, Elikim chayus kulam. Ato, what is ato? Ato is you. Whatever you is. We don't know what your essence is, but it says ato, you. You chayus kulam. You're giving life to all. So that is Hashem's ashpah from Chesed. Hashem is giving. So the side of kedusha, you can say the character of the side of kedusha, the middle of kedusha is to give. Look at the Rebbe, for example. What is the main thing that we saw by the Rebbe? The giving of the dollars. Giving, tzedakah. That's the main thing. Gives you, so you give tzedakah. To build the habit of giving tzedakah. What do we see main thing? Is giving. Someone is giving himself completely to others. No, it doesn't have a life of his own. Almost nothing of his own. What? Half an hour with his wife in the morning. What was almost 24/7 to give to Tam Yisrael.
Right.
So anything that you see with the side of kedusha is giving, and that's why you see growth in a normal place, not in a place like that is not a desert. You see growth, vegetation. You see trees. You see things that are happening.
Because they got the cactus. It's not the same.
What do you do with it?
A cactus.
Thorns.
If you cut
aloe.
It has stuff. I don't know.
There's places that even that is not. Go to the Sahara. You're not even going to see in the Sahara desert. You're not even going to see that.
Yeah.
You just see sand. It's almost like a beach sand, and it just goes like this for miles and miles and miles and miles. There's no videos of it.
Yeah.
People go there for once a year they have this with cars. They do racing there.
Yeah. See, where, who knows this year?
What?
Yeah, I heard about that. By Morocco or something.
I don't know. None of those areas, but it's complete desolation. No roads, no nothing. And you're not even find. You were referring to a desert like Arizona, but Arizona there you see cactus here, here in the. But you know what? You notice when you go to Arizona, you notice the sand. You like, every time there's wind, it's like it's like comes to you like the the dust.
Yeah.
There's dust in the wind.
Yeah.
Literally dust in the wind. At least that's what I felt when I was in. I think it was in Tucson.
I wasn't in Arizona much. I went to Scottsdale and.
Yeah, maybe Scottsdale is nicer. Maybe it's more.
Very hot.
Yeah. Some people like it because it's a dry, more dry of a situation.
And Vegas is desert also, and it's very dry.
Right. Nevada, right? So, ובכל סתר לקדושו, והנה, והקדוש ברוך הוא החסד נמשך מצד גדולו. ושכוסו ערך אפיים גדול חסד, ולך השם הגדול. ערך אפיים גדול חסד. זה פסוק in Tehillim. So, comes to Hashem, a chesed, kindness, is coming from Gedula. Erech hapayim ugdol chesed. B'chol sidur dekdusho, a chesed nimshach mitzad habitul. Comes to sidur dekdusho, chesed is happening from the side of bittul. שבוטל להווי ונחשב לעין ואפס בעינוב. לא כן ראו ליתן לזולוס שהוא חושב יסו. That's an amazing concept. He says, why would anybody give to someone else? It says because you have bittul. What does that mean you have bittul? You feel that he's greater than you, so he's deserving to be getting something. If you are feeling that you're greater than him, why should you give him? Greater. So in the moment you have some level of bittul, nullification, you say, well, this guy is special, he has something in him. You should invest in him. So you give him. So it says anything to do with Kedusha, in the whole side of Sitra, the Kedusha means the whole side of Kedusha is the concept of bittul, of nullification. It says, Chesed nimshach mitzad bittul. You want to receive from Hashem Chesed, you need to be in a state of bittul. Shebot la'avayit, v'nechshel l'ayim v'efes be'ino. Consider yourself like naught, nothingness. It says in Avram, but dust and ashes. And that's why Avram used to do chesed with everyone. Because Avram didn't just say, Avram felt it. Avram was really on a level that he thought that is but us, dust and ashes. So anyone that he saw, he gave them. They were all. He felt they were greater. They're all worthy of receiving. But you see, for Hashem, when it says, we just read the pasuk in Tehillim, Erech ha'apayim gedol chesed. Gedol means great, big. Gives a tremendous amount of chesed, right? But gedula is by Hashem. You have the gedula. Cha Hashem gedula. Hashem has the greatness. By us, in order to receive and give, we have to be in a state of bittul, not a state of gedula. Because it says the more bittul you have to Hashem, the less you consider your own existence. You see a poor person, you say, why would I have more than him? Let me give him. So he has something also. And that's why we saw in Avram that didn't consider himself at all. Didn't consider his existence. And that's why he did a lot of chesed. Even with the Arvim, with the Arabs, they bowed to their own dust, the dust of their feet. He gave them. Masha'ein kein b'mishu yesh v'dovo, someone that is yesh. His existence is a big guy, big shot. Ve'ino botel, and he's not nullified. Tzorich hakol legami, he needs to have everything for himself. Ve'ino b'chinas mashpia, he's not in a state of a giver. He's in a state of a taker. So the more yeshus, the more of existence, the more you want to receive. The more you want to take for yourself. And that's what the clippers are all about. The clippers are saying, have, like a dog. I want more. Give me. Lo hem midbo hem nochosh sorof ve'akov. Says the midbar is a place of the snake and the scorpion. Sorof is another kind of something unpleasant, like the Nachosh and Yaakov. Gimel klippus, representing the three klippus. Sheshor Mekira klippus, that's the source of klippus in the midbar. Shem yesh v'dovo nifrod ve'in b'hem b'chinas bittul. They are yesh, they are existent, they are separated, and they don't have any bittul. Lo chen ein mimenu shum hashpah. And that's why they are giving nothing. That's why they're not giving. That's why in the midbar there is no growth. Because the midbar says, I want more. I'm not producing anything, but I want to get. Unfortunately, we see it now with certain communities that only want to get.
The more they get, the worse it gets, because they're not working for it.
Right.
The bread of shame, as they say.
והנה לך כנס יסור ויסור במדבר כדי להכניע המדבר. So that's why we were traveling in the midbar with the Owen, the Mishkan, to להכניע המדבר, to subdue the midbar, to subdue the Sefer Acha, the source of klippus. ולא כנוסו es המשכן בממבייס מסוי שבחינה שם ממבייס. And that's why we went through and carried the Mishkan to 42 travelings, 42 encampments. Why? What is the name 42? What is 42?
It must have been less than 42, because they got out of Mitzrayim, they went to Har Sinai. A year later, they were building the Mishkan from Yom Kippur that year till Rosh Chodesh Nisan.
They finished earlier. They only did the dedication of Rosh Chodesh Nisan.
Right. But the travels that are in the Torah are some of them. They had a few from Mitzrayim to Sinai, and then from Sinai they made the Mishkan, and then so it had to be less.
No, but if you look at if you even look in the Torah, we're going to say then they came from one place, they got to that place, they went to this place.
I know, but we know but they said it went from Ramses to this.
Right.
Right, but when they went to see, the clock started ticking on the Mishkan from Yom, the Yom Kippur after.
So you're saying the actual travelings with the Mishkan was less than 42?
Yeah.
Well, I doubt it, because he tells you clearly. It says Parshas Maseh, if you look at Parshas Maseh in chapter 33, you'll see it. It says that they traveled with the Mishkan, Membeis Masois.
So then it was
it
more
says clearly.
So then they did more than 42 travelings.
Maybe it wasn't considered. What constitutes a travel? That's another thing. What constitutes by the Torah Masa? Maybe it's when you are told to go from point A to point B. That's traveling. Wandering is not.
But you see in that Masay that they did.
You'll find 42. You'll find 42. Anyway, so what is 42? Why specifically 42?
Membase.
What is Shem Membase? So it says. It's known that one of the names of Hashem is the name of 42, and the subjugation of Midbar was done through this name. Okay, to subdue. Obviously, Hashem is the only one that has the power to deal with the klippas. It gives us the power to do it. So, what name of Hashem was infused, was used for the subduing of the klippas was Shem and Beis. That's what it says. Shu b'chinas Shem and Beis. For example, if you look at Ana B'choyach, we say in davening every day, in Shachris and in Mincha, Ana B'choyach, Gidos Mincha, in Kriyas Shema Shalamita, we say Ana B'choyach. It corresponds also to 42. So Ana B'choyach has 42. It says the Meraglim caused the Jewish people to be delayed in the desert for 40 years. So the point of the name, the concept of Membeis, the name of Membeis is elevating and separating the good from evil. And that's why we say in Kriyas Shema, Ana B'choyach, to elevate the neshama from the places of Klipas Noga. That's the Mittel Rebbe says it. This is a hidden good in the desert. In order to elevate it, you have to first destroy, eliminate, and eliminate the bad and elevate the good that is in the Mizbah. I know how do we do it? Through God's revelation that took place in the Mishkan. Naso Es Rosh, and when they didn't have to do much, they just have to travel with it. Once they travel with it, since the Mishkan had godliness dwelled in the Mishkan, right? So they traveled with the Mishkan. Wherever they went, it says that they were subdued. Mimele nichnu, by default they were subdued. Kehem is Dainag V'Gremer. So the pasuk tells us until Kehem is Dainag, they like wax being melted. Don't have to work hard. It comes close to the fire, it's melted. Bring fire close to wax, it's melting. So this was the purpose of the subduing the Sitra Acha in the Midbar, was a preparation for the time of Mashiach. Enabling the lowly world that we're living in to have godly revelation. Revelation of Hashem will be revealed. By first subduing the place of concealment, the place of Yeshus. Can have afterwards the revelation of Mashiach. So traveling in the desert was to subdue the klippa, subdue the klippers, and that was a preparation for the time of Mashiach, when godly revelation will be revealed in this world. So, as hachana, as preparation to transforming the world to kedusha, to holiness, Bnei Yisrael had to walk in the desert to subdue the yeshus of the klippa, the arrogance of the klippa. This type of revelation that will take place in the time of Mashiach. The truth is, speaking about Hashem's atzmus, from Hashem's perspective, there's no concealment whatsoever. Nothing can be hidden from Hashem. Everything is considered naught and insignificant. There's no change before the world was created and after the world was created. From Hashem's perspective, the world is echad, one, yochid, singular, special, meyuchad. So from Hashem's perspective, the worlds are not considered Metzius, are not considered Yeshus. So even after the worlds were created, Hashem is still Yochid, is the only one, and there's no shinui, there's no change between before creation and after creation. Why is it that everything is insignificant before Hashem? Because the whole creation was done by Dibu. B'dvar Havaya Shemaim Nais. When the utterance of God, the heavens were created. So there's no chashivus. How can you give chashivus to something you can create with Dibu? Imagine you stand next to the beach and you say, I want this area to be my house, and it becomes your house, and I want to have a palace with 20 bedrooms, and it becomes a palace with 20 bedrooms. It's beautiful palace, but how much importance you going to give it? You create it with your Dibu. You can create billions of these. You just stand there and create more and more and more and more. So imagine Hashem created the world with Varavaya, with utterance of God. What significance does it have from His perspective?
That's no biggie.
No biggie, exactly. You can create more and more and more.
You can do it, you
You can take it or create more. That's what you mean. Creating all created beings, something out of nothing. It's all from the letters of speech. So Hashem's atzmus, Hashem's essence, it doesn't have any importance. It's insignificance, the whole thing. It's like, for you, how much is, you say, what is the value of one sentence that you say in comparison to your ability to speak? It has no value.
Right.
One sentence, one word.
But you take it for granted that you can talk.
Fine. We appreciate the ability to speak.
Right.
But the actual one word, do you know what you said an hour ago? You don't.
I didn't say anything an hour ago.
But let's say you did. It's okay. So
I know what you mean.
yeah, it's like, fine, I can say it again. Big deal.
Right.
For example, the speech by a human being. Dibur is considered nullified in comparison to your thought. The only reason why you're able to speak is because you have a machshava. You can't speak with a machshava. without thought. Shu boter tov gam machshov. Boter is mokum klal uklal. It doesn't take any. That doesn't. It's not considered significant at all. Rak etzel hashomea. Rak etzel hashomea hu shadibur nitbas leishur dov o. The shomea, the listener, to him the dibur is considered yesh, something. Wow. He's thinking this is a big deal. Listener.
It depends.
No, because for the listener, the dibur is a flow that comes to him. Without the dibur, he wouldn't know it. Like you're listening to, I don't know, a coach that explains to you something. So people pay for sometimes a lot of money to go to listen to the seminar. Why? Because to the one who does the seminar every day, goes to a different place. He does the seminar.
He has knowledge. He's given.
He's the mashpia. But for the recipient,
right.
The dibur is important. Wow, every word they write down. What did you say?
Right. I spent thousands of dollars, whatever. But I got your point.
Right.
But the other point is people that talk and talk and talk and they say nothing.
Right.
That's my point.
Right.
Like, I don't want to say.
Okay, but that's not a dibur that of shefa. That's not a dibur that is giving you something. I'm talking about a dibur that actually contributes something.
Yeah, I wish I would hear dibur from people that had something to say.
Right.
I mean,
unfortunately, sometimes people are so involved with just saying what they have to say without really wanting to hear what other people want to say. So even when they hear something of significance, they don't pay attention to it.
I mean, my wife advised women over, and I said,
it's like I remember listening to a rabbi who said there was a big poisek that someone wrote to him, another poisek wrote to him to pay more attention to the Alter Rebbe's Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah.
So it was an embassy. Well, it wasn't Lubavitch, but an embassy. He decided to start. He went through the Alter Rebbe's Shulchan Aruch, but he never really. And when he started, he said, "Wow, I'm amazed with the geniussy. I see so many things I didn't see before." Yes. So what's the difference? We can both stand in the same place, watch the same show.
Right.
And we'll take different things from it. Why? Because one person was completely attuned to what is happening, and one was not so attuned.
Right.
So the more you're attuned to the situation, the more you will take from it.
You have to focus. Or it's not so easy.
Not so easy, but you have to be there.
I mean, like you're going to do a 3-hour seminar. I mean.
Right. No, but the idea is it depends how you're excited about the subject. It depends how thrilled you are. Where do you really want to be? So
I'm never excited for 3 hours.
Yeah. Anyhow, but that's the point. Similarly above, בחינת איסוס הדיבור בעשור מאמורס לגבי הנברואים מהם יש מאין ובחינת יש. Isis had the letters of speech in the Asor Mamoris, in the 10 utterances, Legabe Anivoimem, in comparison to those who were created from the 10 utterances, something out of nothing, and Bechinas Yesh. There, Asor Mamoris is considered Yesh. That's a real existence. It created something. That's only in relation to the Nivroim, to us, to the created beings. But if you're comparing the 10 utterances to Hashem, they are considered nothing. Right. Hashem can say another 10 utterances, 1 billion utterances he can say afterwards. So remember again, we mentioned it yesterday. It's like what a big shliach, very successful shliach, is a big shot in his town. But when he's next to the Rebbe, is nullified, right? Like the ray, like Tanya speaks about, the ray of the sun when he meets the sun. So suddenly completely nullified. Asor Ma'amoris, in comparison to the Nivroim, they created us something out of nothing. So they're the biggie, we are nothing. But Asor Ma'amoris, in comparison to Hashem himself, who uttered the 10 utterances, they are considered nothing. You meet your maker. When you meet your maker, you're nullified. So Asor Mamos meets the maker, they're nullified. But
and in the cemetery, they all met their maker.
It's like CEO of a company, to his workers, he's a big shot. But when he's he's meeting the president and the board, he suddenly has to give account for where is it going, what's the direction.
If he doesn't have good answers, just see where he is.
Right. If he doesn't have good answers, he has to find another job, right?
Right.
So he's just like all the other workers.
Right.
With a bigger paycheck, but he's like all the other ones.
Right.
Revelation the world seemingly it looks like a yesh to us in existence. V'dovo there's importance. Haval es lizboach en ester velem klal. Hashem does not have any concealment, so he can see that he sees everything. He sees what is yesh, what is ein. Dibur is something that is secondary, is nullified to him. Tofel, insignificant. So since Hashem is the source of all created beings, it's self-understood that the Buim themselves, the created beings, are nullified to him. So there's nothing really, even if somebody is the biggest egotistical guy, arrogant, give him all the beautiful titles. From Hashem's perspective, Hashem looking at him,
He's just another.
he's a yesh. No, who is he? He's nullified.
He's a schlepper like everybody
He's
else.
nullified because he's also dependent on Hashem 100%. No matter how hard he screams that he's not, that he's a self-made man. As much as he screams, from Hashem's perspective, the nothingness remains the nothingness.
We all end up in the same place.
Okay, in time of Mashiach. When the honor of God will be revealed, meaning revelation of the essence of Elikus will be revealed. It wouldn't have any kind of concealment. There would be no hester, no concealment. You'll see how everything was created from Hashem. So what's the difference? Not just the Dibu is going to be revealed, also the essence will be revealed. Atzmus of Hashem will be revealed. So all created beings will see the emes, will see the truth. The Dibu and the Buim and the created beings, they're all created from him. And it's all insignificant. The Dibu and the 10 utterances and V'yegilu lekus gam b'asiyah. And God's revelation will take place even in the world of Asiyah, even our world, the lowliest world. Ashiur kol baso, all flesh will see. Afilu ba'asog asichla gashmius, even with our physical mind, we'll be able to see and understand godliness. We'll all understand the Achdus Hashem, the unity of God, and how our Metzius, our existence, is not contradicting to the unity of Hashem, God forbid. There's nothing that contradicts the unity of Hashem. Even our natural powers will feel the truth in godliness, Gilui Gomu, complete revelation. And you'll have Bitul even in those Mazikim, the damagers, like a lion will have Bitul, the Likus.
Right.
That's
Lion with a lamb or whatever.
Right. A wolf and the lamb. In order to have this type of a relation in time of Mashiach, so we needed the Mishkan to travel in the desert to subdue it. We'll stop here. Welcome to you.